Do these 10 things to outsmart a toxic boss. Workplace toxicity is more common than most people realize, often stemming from leadership styles rooted in control, insecurity, or poor emotional intelligence. A toxic boss may not always appear overtly aggressive. Instead, their behavior can manifest subtly through manipulation, inconsistency, favoritism, or passive-aggressive communication. Over time, these patterns create an environment where employees feel uncertain, undervalued, and psychologically drained. What makes toxic leadership particularly dangerous is its ability to distort perception. Employees may begin to question their own competence, normalize unhealthy behavior, or feel trapped due to financial or professional dependence. This dynamic often leads to reduced productivity, burnout, and long-term damage to confidence and career growth. However, the power dynamic is not as one-sided as it appears. Toxic bosses frequently rely on emotional reactions, lack of documentation, and unclear communication to maintain control. By understanding these mechanisms, employees can shift from a reactive position to a strategic one. The concept of outsmarting a toxic boss is not about revenge or confrontation. Instead, it focuses on psychological awareness, controlled responses, and proactive behavior. Through subtle but consistent actions, such as documenting interactions, setting boundaries, and managing perception, employees can protect themselves while maintaining professionalism. Ultimately, the goal is not just survival but empowerment. By recognizing toxic patterns and responding strategically, individuals regain control over their work experience and position themselves for healthier opportunities in the future. If your boss makes you feel small, confused, or constantly on edge, you're not the problem. You're being managed through psychology. And today, I'm going to show you 10 powerful ways to outsmart a toxic boss without getting fired, without losing your sanity, and without playing dirty. Because the truth is, toxic bosses don't rely on power. They rely on your reactions. You probably experienced it. One day they praise you, the next day they criticize the same thing. They set unclear expectations, then blame you for missing them. They take credit when things go right, and disappear when things go wrong. And slowly, without realizing it, you start doubting yourself. But here's what they don't expect. Once you understand their patterns, you become impossible to control. So here are 10 strategies to flip the power dynamic, quietly and effectively. 1. Stop reacting emotionally. Toxic bosses feed on reactions. The more frustrated you get, the more control they gain. Instead, pause before responding. Keep your tone neutral. Never show urgency in emotional situations. Power move. Calmness creates psychological distance. 2. Document everything. This is your silent shield. Save emails. Confirm verbal instructions in writing. Keep records of decisions. Why? Because toxic bosses often rewrite history. Receipts remove their power. 3. Force clarity. Toxic bosses thrive in ambiguity. So you disrupt them by asking, can you clarify the priority? What does success look like here? Now they're accountable. 4. Control the narrative. If you don't define your work, they will. Send regular updates. What you're doing, what you completed, what's blocked. You're not just working. You're managing perception. 5. Set invisible boundaries. You don't need confrontation, just consistency. Don't respond instantly to non-urgent messages. Stick to defined working hours. Be polite, but not overly available. This trains them how to treat you. But here's where most people fail. They try to win against a toxic boss. That's mistake number 1. Because the real goal is control, not confrontation. 6. Never overshare. Toxic bosses weaponize information. Keep conversations professional, minimal, and strategic. Not everything needs to be shared. 7. Build allies quietly. Power doesn't sit in one person. It sits in networks. Build relationships with peers. Stay visible across teams. Gain social proof. Now you're not isolated. 8. Anticipate their moves. Toxic bosses are predictable. Watch for patterns. When they criticize. When they shift blame. When they apply pressure. Once you see the pattern, you're always one step ahead. 9. Detach your identity. This is the most powerful shift. Your boss's behavior is not your worth. The moment you stop internalizing, you stop being controlled. 10. Play the long game. You're not stuck. You're positioning. Build skills. Build reputation. Build options. Because the ultimate power move is knowing you can leave. Toxic bosses win when you react. They win when you doubt yourself. They win when you play their game. But the moment you stay calm, stay strategic, stay aware, you stop being a target and start becoming untouchable. If this made you see your situation differently, you're already ahead. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. The first key lesson is that emotional control is power. Toxic bosses often provoke reactions to maintain dominance. By staying calm and composed, employees remove the very leverage that fuels manipulative behavior. Emotional neutrality is not weakness, it is strategic strength. Second, clarity and documentation are essential tools for protection. Ambiguity benefits toxic leadership because it allows them to shift expectations and avoid accountability. By asking precise questions and keeping written records, employees create a factual foundation that prevents misrepresentation and protects their credibility. Another important lesson is the importance of perception management. Work alone is not enough. Visibility and communication shape how contributions are recognized. Providing consistent updates ensures that efforts are seen and acknowledged, reducing the likelihood of being undermined. Boundaries also play a critical role. Toxic bosses often test limits, gradually increasing demands or overstepping professional norms. By maintaining consistent, respectful boundaries, employees subtly redefine acceptable behavior without direct confrontation. Equally significant is the need for strategic detachment. Internalizing toxic behavior can damage confidence and decision-making. Recognizing that such behavior reflects the boss's patterns, not personal shortcomings, helps maintain mental resilience. Building alliances is another powerful strategy. Workplace influence is rarely isolated, and strong professional relationships create a support system that reduces vulnerability. Being connected increases both protection and opportunity. Finally, the most important lesson is long-term positioning. While short-term strategies help manage a situation, true empowerment comes from developing skills, expanding networks, and creating exit options. Knowing that you are not trapped fundamentally shifts the power dynamic. Together, these lessons transform the experience from one of helplessness to one of control, awareness, and strategic growth. If you want more videos like this, please subscribe.